Right now, we're joined on the phone by the one and only Ian Castleberry from awfulannouncing.com. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Ian.
Same to you, Jim. Happy holidays. Kwanzaa, I don't want to overlook anything.
Yeah, I think we got them.
I like that you jumped straight to Kwanzaa. That's good. I like it.
Little
Boxing Day.
little unexpected. We were expecting a zig. We got a zag.
Usually Hanukkah's number 2 on the list, but Kwanzaa working its way up in the post-pandemic world.
There we go.
Yeah, you got me. I mean, I don't pay close attention to those things as I should. I mean, what day is it? I hope I'm not offending by anyone, but I used to. This is going to sound terrible. I used to have more Jewish friends, and I was much more aware of the calendar there. But strangely, since moving to the South, not that anything about the South, but
so you're saying fewer Jewish people in the South?
I encounter fewer.
Okay.
All
right. But I mean, there's a lot of retirees who moved down here in Asheville, and they complain that there's no good Jewish deli. But other than that, I don't have enough people around me. My circle isn't big enough right now to keep me aware.
That's okay. Regardless of where you are, you'll always be a mensch in my book. So you're good.
There we go. So, of course, NFL season going on right now. Amazon, in the meantime, getting ready for next year with Thursday Night Football, as they become the sole provider of that. Trying to get Al Michaels. I've heard they're trying to get Troy Aikman, a bunch of other folks, I guess, too. Any truth, validity to any of that? Like, where are they as far as coming to a consensus as who they're going to throw at us?
I think the Al Michaels thing is a virtual done deal. He can't say it yet, right? I think the contract hasn't been officially signed, or he's still officially under contract to NBC. But the move seems to be at NBC to kind of phase Al out a little bit, even though he's still doing very well, still at the top of his game. But they brought over Mike Tirico for a reason, and I think this is coming up on that. So Mike Tirico, I think, is going to take over Sunday Night Football. He's going to be with Chris Collinsworth for who knows how long, but you can see the eventual plan there is for Drew Brees to take over as the analyst in that booth, Mike Tirico and Drew Brees. So I think the Al Michaels to Amazon thing is going to happen. Now, the Troy Aikman thing, I'm not so sure. That seems a little bit weird to me. Is he going to want to work? I mean, he does now. He works 2 games a week for Fox, but that just seems like a weird circumstance with him being at Fox and then possibly doing Thursday Night Football. From all accounts, the Thursday Night Football production is sort of going to be outsourced to NBC. So you're going to have Al Michaels, you're going to have Fred Gaudelli, who's the producer of Sunday Night Football right now. So they're aiming high to get Troy Aikman as the analyst, but I don't know if that's going to be the case, and I don't know who would take over in that regard, though. But yeah, they're certainly aiming at Troy Aikman right now.
I would say, and this is from the consumer standpoint, Al Michaels and Troy Aikman would seem like an interesting combination, and I'm not sure that I would feel interesting in a good way in that one, because you've got Al Michaels, who's the traditional, seasoned veteran broadcaster, and then you have Troy Aikman, who gets lost and down in distance sometimes.
Yeah, and Joe Buck does like to joke around a little bit, but I agree. I feel like Al Michaels and Troy Aikman wouldn't really be a good fit. I mean, I think, of course, the golden goose is Peyton Manning. That's not going to happen, I don't think, with the success of the Manning cast. But I think that would have been a really good pairing, Al Michaels and Peyton Manning. Maybe Drew Brees will do that game if Chris Collinsworth's still on the Sunday Night Football team. Maybe NBC will kind of loan him out for Thursday Night Football, although that seems like it would be then he'd have to do Thursday Night Football, he'd have to do the Notre Dame game, and then Football Night in America. So maybe that would be extending him a little too far.
Like a little bit much anyway.
Yeah, if the formula is you want to put a respected, seasoned former player in that position, is there anyone else that you kind of look at and say maybe this person would be a good fit? You need to get this guy in there as an analyst. I have been fairly impressed with Greg Olson so far this season. I think he still has a lot of ways to go, but there's no shortage of former players that are trying to make that jump.
Yeah, Greg Olson, as you're asking the question, another name, Aqib Talib is a name that came to mind, but I don't see him and Al Michaels being a good fit. Plus, I think that might be just a little bit too quick a jump or far a jump for Aqib Talib. I mean, he's still on the number 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy him, but I think that's a little bit too far of a promotion at this point.
I think it would be too far of a promotion, but I have actually enjoyed Brian Greasy quite a bit in the few games that I've caught him so far this season.
Oh, that's a good call too. I think he's good. You know, I think people just love to rip on the Monday Night Football crew, no matter who's in there. But I think obviously they've been overshadowed by the Manning cast this season. But I think Levy, Greasy, and Louis Riddick do a fine job. I think in some ways I would like to see Greasy just be the analyst on his own, but I do enjoy the interplay with Louis Riddick. I think Greasy seems to enjoy having another player to bounce stuff off of. And I like the dynamic of one offensive guy, one defensive guy. If you have to have a 3-man boot, I like that dynamic.
And, speaking of guys who are going to be working a ton, Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit are going to be doing the second half of the Monday Night Football finale, which, of course, is going to be on a Saturday. So, because that makes all the sense in the world. And they're going to be doing that. They're going to be doing, I think, the
national
championship game, one of the other playoff games as well. I don't know which one they're going to be doing, but and there was something else that they're going to be doing too, like 4 big games in the span of like a week. How do they do that? Like I could barely do this show. I could barely do this show for a week. And
these guys are professionals. I mean, especially in Herbstreit's case. I mean, I think he's just a football nerd. They've done this during the pandemic. Last year, they were doing some of the Monday Night Football broadcasts, and I think there was some sentiment at ESPN, like, why don't we just make Fowler and Herbstreit the Monday Night crew, before they settled on Levy, Greasy, and Riddick. I think fans would be fine with that. That would be too much for the two of those guys, of course, but I think it's a good choice for the doubleheader. Why not? And to go from a playoff game to they've. I guess the assumption I'm making is that Fowler and Herbstreit will have had a month, 6 weeks to study up on whichever playoff game they're going to be doing that weekend. I think that has been determined. I should know that off the top of my head. But, so most of their studying in the week leading up, 2 weeks leading up, will be about who the playoff teams will be, which that has not been determined yet. I think that those games will be flexed into the Monday Night Football on Saturday doubleheader. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that whole if they don't add arrows to the logo, in a calendar saying, hey, Saturday to Monday and Monday to Saturday. If they don't do that, then they're missing a marketing opportunity there. But that's all part of like the last weekend of the NFL where you've got CBS and Fox having double headers. I think that weekend, right? And then, the schedule right now, anyway, is kind of just up for grabs. Yeah, so
we're approaching that wonderful time of year where you get Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday football.
Hey, we got Saturday football.
Saturday,
this week.
Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
This is kind of
if these COVID things keep up, maybe we'll get some Tuesday and Wednesday like we did last.
Oh yeah,
that's
true.
Might,
I didn't think about that. This is kind of a step back in the conversation, but something I'd love to get your opinion on. This comes as a disgruntled Bears fan, and you probably know where I'm going with this. Chris Collinsworth, a little bit of foot and mouth syndrome this week, saying that Aaron Rodgers is just the most honest guy in the NFL. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I wonder if Chris Collinsworth watches anything besides football film, because certainly not following social media or the Pat McAfee show, apparently. I think it's you get too chummy with these guys. I think you meet them in production meetings, and they do a lot of Packers games. So I'm sure he and Rodgers are pretty chummy, and maybe you're talking to talk. You have a microphone in front of you. You got time to fill. But I mean, come on. Aaron Rodgers has been in the news so much, and just caused like this national uproar for lying about his vaccination status. So for Collinsworth to say that, he just looks completely out of touch.
A follow-up to Carl's question: how far across the room did you spit your drink? Because mine went pretty damn far.
Yeah.
when I heard
I was not enjoying a beverage at the time. I choked on a couple of popcorn kernels.
Okay, all right.
Some very tasteful memes, by the way, involving Aaron Rodgers and Chris Collinsworth on the Bears Reddit thread. If you should decide to go down that venue and you want a good laugh.
Okay. As few details as possible.
Yes.
As far as this goes. Working without a net right now.
Fowler and Herbstreit are doing Georgia and Michigan, by the way.
Okay.
That should be. I mean, that should be a great game for him. I've always loved Kirk Herbstreit's in the college game. I've always appreciated what he did. Of course, I go back to the national championship game that Notre Dame was in 2012 that got completely overshadowed by his broadcast partner making comments about a certain quarterback's girlfriend. But he was fantastic.
Brent Musburger.
He's very good. He's very knowledgeable. I mean, I think he steps in it a little bit, not as a game analyst, but, on game day where he has to be more of a pundit, more of a personality. And the fact that he's appeared to like to troll fans about Cincinnati's inclusion in the playoff foursome and, trying to strike out and tease fans who assumed that a group of 5 team would not be in that Final Four. I mean, how close were we? I mean, if Oklahoma State had scored that touchdown against Baylor, would Cincinnati be one of the playoff teams? Maybe, but
I mean, they're already. So, I mean, we're asking about Notre Dame anyway, though. I mean, they needed 2 of those 3 games to go completely haywire for all the chaos to happen and for Notre Dame to kind of slide into that 4th spot in the playoff. But Baylor came through for us, but. Apparently Georgia couldn't see fit to do that. They stink. Anyway, Ian Castleberry from awfulannouncing.com joining us right now at Sports Radio 960 AM WSBT. Speaking of ESPN personalities trolling, and I know you're a Michigan guy, but what was Desmond Howard thinking at the Heisman Trophy ceremony?
Yeah, I can't defend Desmond on this, even as a Michigan fan. I mean, that was just, what Aiden Hutchinson said, I mean, I think that was fine. Sure. That's just rivals tweaking each other. But for Desmond to take that extra step and take a shot at Ohio State's offensive line, again, you're talking about kids up there, college kids. I mean, I do think the Ohio State fandom took it a little too personally. And got in an uproar.
Ohio State never.
Never.
Never. Yeah, I mean, geez, these guys, they lose one game in 10 years, and all of a sudden the sky is falling, right? But then also, Howard going at it even further on social media, poking the bear, trolling, however you want to say it. I certainly didn't have a problem with him clapping back at Zach Smith, however.
That was all right.
Anybody wants to, you want to clap back at Zach Smith. Please be my guest. Anything to point out what an awful human being he is and remind everybody. That's absolutely fine.
So I think maybe we've got 90 seconds left before we got to say goodbye. This is your time to basically kvetch about baseball.
Oh, all right. Well, is there anything to talk about? Because baseball doesn't seem to want us to talk about baseball.
Really, right. Really, all my only question about baseball is, what are they doing?
No sport is better at shooting itself in the foot than Major League Baseball. I mean, this whole just charade that they're pulling, I saw your Twitter avatar, Jim, with the silhouette for the players and wiping all the information about current players and transactions. Oh, we're going to, celebrate the history of the game. And if any sport is going to do that, baseball is capable of doing that. But you know what? I'm not signing on to MLB.com on December 15th because I think I want to read something about Goose Gossage. No, I want to know what's going on in the sport. I want to know. I want an off season. I mean, even without a lockout, baseball was so bad at attracting off-season headlines. Like, look at what the NBA and the NFL do with their free agency. They make it a big deal. It's all over ESPN. And then even when there's big-name free agents like Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, baseball is kind of like, they'll sign by February, by spring training. Okay, I guess we'll talk about it then.
Right.
Instead of just, seizing the headlines. I mean, college football, basically has a month off, 6 weeks off. Of course, the NFL is still tracking headlines, but this is an opportunity for baseball to really make headlines. And as usual, they don't seem interested in doing so.
Why should we expand the game to a new audience? Why? It's silly.
If the MLB wants my attention right now, I'm going to need a 3-part docuseries on Doc Ellis throwing that game on acid. I would be all over that. If they want us back, that's what they're going to have to do.
How did they not have this at the ready, knowing that they were going to lock out the player?
Right? You should just have it there. Yeah. Be like, lock out the players.
Lack of vision,
bam.
Rob Manfred.
What? Rob Manfred with a lack of vision? Get out. Anyway.
His concern with a 3-part docuseries would have been pace of documentary. So that was no go.
There would have been some parts that were faster than others, like sped up, visibly sped up. Oh man, you see a clock in the corner for some of it too. Awesome. That'd have been great. Anyway, it's Ian Castleberry from awfulannouncing.com. Wanted to make sure that I said that website address correctly. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Ian. We got to go. I appreciate your time, sir.
Absolutely. Always happy to talk, Jim. Carl, glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Ian.
All right. It is awfulannouncing.com. That's where you need to go to catch Ian's work.